Calls to boycott Walmart have skyrocketed on Twitter after the big box store announced they would be requiring vaccine passports in Canada. Now, it's not that Walmart has just announced they were going to be doing this. It's that the government is requiring you to have proof of vaccination to go shopping in these big box stores. My understanding is that if these stores are larger than a certain amount of, have more than a certain amount of square footage, or I don't know, they use meters in Canada, then you will be required to show proof of vaccination. Or, get this, if you want to go buy groceries and food, a health warden must escort you to make sure you don't buy anything else. And I think more than anything, that proves this is not about COVID. But perhaps I need only show you this video from the CBC so you can know the policies they are putting in place. The policies they use to beat you over the head have nothing to do with COVID. Don't believe me? In this video from the CBC, requiring vaccine passport for big box stores may contribute to sense of security, professor says. Emily McDonald, a specialist in internal medicine at McGill University Health Center, well, sounds like she's an expert, says requiring that shoppers at big box stores be vaccinated may not lessen COVID-19 transmission, but might encourage a small percentage unvaccinated residents to get their first dose. Why? It's not going to lessen the transmission, but make them do it anyway. I'm sorry. You've got to be a special kind of stupid to believe them. To believe any of this. And it's not like it's only in Canada. It's not like this is a Canadian issue. I mean, this is happening everywhere. Now, certainly there are some countries that are getting rid of their vaccine mandates, but it just really feels that the policies being put in place are a grand old rat utopia or rat hope experiment. Because there are people. They were told by Joe Biden, by Fauci. Again, I know this is Canada, but you know, it's similar issues here. They were told, you get this and it stops with you. I mean, Fauci said it. Joe Biden said it. But outside of that, we were told you only need one dose of the vaccine for the vaccine passports, not any more. And it was the conspiracy theorists who were telling all of you, hey, that vaccine card you got, it's got 4 slots. I'm a bit tired of it. I'm a bit tired of playing the game. You guys ever see that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where Captain Picard gets kidnapped? If you haven't, you should. You should watch Star Trek The Next Generation. It's a great show. But let me tell you about this. Many of you probably know it. Picard gets kidnapped and he's placed in this room and the food is awful. It's like a gelatinous garbage. And there's 3 other individuals. There's an angry, rogue-like, aggressive alien. There is a Starfleet cadet. And then there is this whiny, sycophantic individual. Picard is trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to escape. And in the end, it turns out they are part of an experiment on authority. An alien species that is a hive mind has no authority, so they wanted to see how other life forms react to authority. There's an individual who gives into authority, an individual who tries to steal it, a captain who's earned it, and a cadet who follows. Picard eventually just says, in the end, I'm done, I am not playing, I will have nothing to do with this, thus breaking the entire system. And then the aliens reveal themselves. I know many of you probably don't care for Star Trek, but these stories, I think, are absolutely fantastic. It's great writing. And it's writing from an era of true classical liberalism. Whatever it is these people are doing, I'm done. I am done with it. I've been done with it. I'm not playing your game. And in fact, I got to be honest, I never played. Actually, that's not fair. I played a little bit. I wore the masks. I said, well, I don't care. I'll wear the mask. And that was all a part of it. Now, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but the data is there. Whether any of these policies were put into place specifically to collect data on us, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to prove something like that, highly speculative, but it doesn't matter because the data is there. They know how much they can beat you. They know they can beat you into the ground. They know they can take away your job. They know they can take away your business. They know they can shut down your life. And you know what most people will say? I'll do anything you say. They'll drop to their knees and just say, please, sir, may I have another? Now, there are a lot of people say no, that reject and refuse this. In Canada, it's still going strong. I don't care for this, less than a minute video. But to have a professor, a specialist of internal medicine at McGill University say, the vaccine passports aren't going to stop transmission, but it will force you to get the vaccine. What's the point of the vaccine? Is it to stop transmission? I mean, that's what Fauci and Biden and all the Democrats said. Well, it doesn't do that. Is it to stop people from dying? Well, if that's the case, that's a personal choice on your medical conditions that you should be advised upon by a doctor and have nothing to do with the store. They said the goal of the vaccine passports was to stop transmission. It was always to slow the spread, and it doesn't do that. At least with Omicron. As for any other strains, talk to your doctor. But we're seeing a record surge, and we're seeing these specialists say this. Why should anyone believe it? Check out this video clip. Now, this one I want to play for you. It's only about 30 seconds. You're going to love this one.
Today, big box stores that have a footprint of 1,500 square meters or more are going to have to ask customers to show proof of vaccination. Now, pharmacies and grocery will be exempt from this. So if you're going into a Costco or a Walmart or something like that, where you might be going in to buy groceries or visit the pharmacy, in that case, an employee will have to be with that person as they walk through the store to make sure that they do not go and buy other products or other items that might be in the store. Now, today, big box store.
It's not about COVID. If you can go in a store to buy groceries and medicine, why can't you grab a pair of socks along the way? It makes no sense. It makes no sense unless you look at this through the perspective of manipulation and control. If we're talking about stopping a pandemic, it makes no sense to be like, you can come in and you can go to the pharmacy or the grocery section, but you can't buy socks or a phone or a TV or anything. It's like, wait, hold on. Often, in the big box stores out here, the grocery store, a portion of like Walmart and Target, spans the one side of the store. You can easily walk along the aisle and grab a shirt, right? Nope. Someone's going to be there to make sure you can't buy any of that stuff. It is not about COVID. Too many people just don't pay attention to this stuff. That's the problem. They allow it to happen. Well, Walmart boycott calls mount in Canada on Quebec vaccine rule. You should boycott Walmart for a lot of other reasons outside of just this, to be completely honest. And Amazon too. Yeah. I try to do better, but I got to be honest. I'm not even that good at it. I don't go to Walmart all that much. We try to avoid it, but everything's become a big box store. Everything's become a big chain. So I hear you. What do? I'll tell you this. When I go to a store and they have these mandates, I walk away. I go somewhere else. I'll order online if I have to. And maybe that's the real goal. When they're telling you that you can't buy things except for groceries, maybe what they're really saying is that they don't want you to buy stuff. Maybe climate change is the real issue driving all of this. From Bloomberg, a new vaccine requirement for Walmart locations in Quebec has prompted calls for a boycott among some Twitter users. The protests from those opposed to COVID vaccinations, known as anti-vaxxers. Bravo, Bloomberg. Bravo, Bloomberg. That was just so psychotic what you wrote. But I gotta give it up for your brazen and overt bull-ish. The protests from those who opposed COVID vaccinations, perhaps they just oppose the mandates. Known as anti-vaxxers, because we've never heard that word before. Amazing. Follow the Canadian province's move to bar unvaccinated patrons from entering government-run liquor and cannabis stores, and large retailers. Part of the efforts to persuade more people to get immunized. Immunized? How dare you, Bloomberg, push this misinformation? The vaccines don't immunize you from anything. Maybe the previous strains, I don't know. But it certainly hasn't stopped any of the transmission. Walmart Canada sought to combat misinformation circulating on Twitter after Boycott Walmart reached more than 17,000 mentions Tuesday morning. Some of the mentions were from those who support the restrictions or those mocking calls for a boycott. As directed by the government of Quebec, we will implement the vaccine passport at our stores in Quebec. Nah, sorry, Walmart. You are so massive that you could literally be like, we will not be enforcing this. And if Quebec wants people to be checked, they can deploy police to check people's papers, but we won't do it. No, Walmart doesn't care about you. They never did. You know what? You know what I love about Walmart is that they pay their employees so little that they require them that often many of these employees need to get welfare. Now, it has been pointed out by many people, Walmart actually isn't the worst, and they do pay well in many areas. I'm sure that's true. But you know what? I got to tell you this. I go to Walmart, and what do I see? There's like one cashier, and there's like 300 people just angry trying to buy stuff, and they don't do anything about it. So what do they eventually do? They bring in self-checkout. Yo, if you have a self-checkout, like they save money on labor costs, so they don't even care that people do it wrong. This is where we're going. The system is falling apart, man. Walmart goes on. They thank asking customers for patience and understanding. Walmart also said that some pictures on social media wrongly suggest that plexiglass dividers in some stores are to isolate non-vaccinated customers. This is false. Restrictions on large retailers are the latest in a sweeping set of new regulations for the unvaccinated in Quebec, where hospitals are still reeling from a surge in COVID-19 cases driven by the highly contagious Omicron variant. Hospitalizations have risen despite nearly 80% of the population being fully vaccinated. Well, that's strange. I thought Bloomberg just said immunized. No. YouTube says they will ban you. They will delete your video if you claim the vaccine, it provides perfect immunity. That's never been claimed. And there's always been breakthrough cases. But in the instance of Omicron, the one thing we do see is people in hospitals tend to be unvaccinated. There you go. There are more people who have died tend to be unvaccinated. But I gotta say, until they come out and issue a hard distinction between dying from COVID and dying with COVID, I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to this stuff. But I can add on. When a specialist at a university comes out in Canada and says, the vaccine passports aren't going to stop transmission. No, it's just going to force people to get it. I'm like, then what's the point? Obedience. Get on your knees. Bark. Come on. Do as you're told. You're a spineless loser. You'll do whatever these people tell you, right? I'm not talking about, I'm speaking rhetorically, mind you, not directly insulting you. I'm saying that that they believe these people will just drop to their knees and do whatever they're told. Everybody has their limits. And now they know what those limits are. They say, restrictions on large retailers are the latest in a sweeping set of new regulations for the unvaccinated in Quebec, where hospitals are still reeling, blah, blah, blah. Quebec's Premier François Legault said on January 11th the Canadian province would begin imposing a health tax on residents who refuse to get their first dose within the coming weeks. You know, I got to tell you, man, you guys, maybe you got to get out of Canada and go somewhere else. You know, our good friend Viva Fry, you must escape, good sir, and come to these United States and live in Florida or New Hampshire or West Virginia. I don't know, man. Now, at the same time, as we're seeing stories like this, we've got this story here in the United States. Starbucks facing calls for boycott after dropping vaccine mandate. That is incredible. Fox reports, calls to boycott Starbucks erupted on social media Wednesday after the coffee giant announced that it would be reversing its COVID vaccine policy to align with the Supreme Court's ruling on the matter. In a memo to employees, Starbucks said that it was reversing its policy mandating that U.S. employees be vaccinated. In response to this, we had someone go out and buy a big thing of coffees and frappuccinos. And Starbucks has these really awesome things. They're called egg bites. Egg bites. It's egg and cottage cheese, and it's like cooked together. It's got bacon in it. They're delicious. Wow. And I try to avoid sugar. They still got sugar in it because they put sugar in it. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, Starbucks is a woke company to a certain degree. And a lot of people said they don't want to support them because Starbucks did that woke training and that whole bathroom thing. And I'm like, listen, when Starbucks does bad, you call them out. When Starbucks does good, you patronize their business, give them money and say, please do more. Because if you came out and looked at what Starbucks was doing and said, I don't care if you do the right thing, I will never shop at your company for doing the wrong thing. Starbucks goes, okay, well, the left still shops here, so let's just do what they want. The calls for a boycott from the left are the stupidest possible thing the left can do. And it's good for us. Because when we go out and we say, We're going to buy tons of, we spent like $300 on Starbucks the next day. We had employees go out and just buy a bunch of stuff for the whole staff here at the Cast Castle. And Starbucks looks at that and they're going to say, hey, take a look at this. When we get rid of the vaccine mandate, regular people don't care and they shop at our stores. Leftists who don't shop at our stores anyway complain about it. And right-wing individuals come out and give us money. What do you think they'll do? They'll say, hey, then whatever makes us money. If we're losing these people on the left, then so be it. Here's what you got to understand. When conservatives are unwilling to do this, Starbucks says, listen, no matter what we do, people on the right will never give us money. So just pander to the left. That's a problem for the right. No. This is how the right wins. They say Starbucks employs 228,000 people in the U.S. The following day, the hashtag boycott Starbucks began a trend on Twitter as users voiced their outrage over the change. Susan Martin, with the blue waves in her profile, says, I will not go to Starbucks or anywhere that does not require workers to be vaxxed. Our health is worth self-advocating for. Good. I got no beef with this lady. She's right. If you don't want to go somewhere, don't go somewhere. Don't force other people to get injected with a medication because you are scared. If you don't like it, you can just not go there. I'm sure in Southern California, where this lady apparently lives, you can find tons of stores, cafes that will serve you coffee and force their employees to be vaccinated so that you feel safe. There you go. Some users pledge to avoid any business that doesn't require workers to be vaccinated. Starbucks Chief Operating Officer John Culver told employees in the memo that the company respected the ruling and would comply even though it didn't align with their company's beliefs. Quote, I want to emphasize that we continue to believe strongly in the spirit and intent of the mandate. Thank you to the more than 90% of partners who have already disclosed their vaccination status, and to the vast majority who are now fully vaccinated. Not all companies followed suit. Carhartt, of course, is facing calls for a boycott. Let me just tell you guys something. It ain't all candy canes and rainbows. Starbucks can get rid of their vaccine mandate because already 90% have disclosed their status. They won. It was temporary. It was always going to be temporary, but they knew they were going to win. So, this is the rock and the hard place we find ourselves trapped between. Viva Fry, our good friend. You should check out his YouTube channel if you don't. Lawyer, YouTuber. We've had him on the show on timcast.rl. He's trapped in Canada. We feel for him. He says, the Supreme Leader, Francois Legault, is requiring the vaccine passport to enter places of worship. He literally thinks he is your new God. In the United States, we have something called the First Amendment. You're supposed to be able to worship as you see fit without government interference. I mean, it's one of the reasons people colonized this, came from this country, because they wanted the right to practice their religion. In New York, the governor and the mayor were blocking people from going to churches. We're dealing with depravity and evil on a scale we've not seen before. Now, you can point out communist nations. You can point out early 1900s in Europe. But this is global. It's Canada. It's Europe. It's China. It's everywhere. It is everywhere. Now, the U.S. is more free than many other places, but it's still pretty bad. In New York, it's really bad. I think the U.S. it's gonna ease up. I think it was. Here, let me show you this one. The Election Wizard says, just this morning, Netherlands reopening all sectors of society. Living even longer with many restrictive measures would damage our health and society, health minister says. So, good. I'm glad it's happening, but the split in culture, the divide from left and right, it's profound. It is truly profound. Part of me just doesn't want to participate in any of this anymore. We're going to set up Freedomistan. We're going to very much mind our own business, get away from all of the insanity, and just be free. But maybe that's the goal. Maybe these cities did this because they want people to leave the big cities. They want them to go out into the middle of nowhere, and it worked. I don't know. I gotta tell you, where I am right now, I look to my left. What do I see? I see a big window. What can I see? Chicken City. That's right. Chicken City. All little chickens. They run around like little goofballs, dumb little critters. And it's funny watching them. When one of them catches a grasshopper or a cricket and they all start running around playing chicken rugby. That's relaxing. That's fun. And people need to get back to nature. They need to become more self-sufficient. They need to take care of themselves instead of just relying on this broken system. I can complain about the collapse of our cities only so much, to be honest, because I watch what's happening in these big cities and Walmart, and I'm like, I don't like Walmart. Don't go there. So if Walmart's doing this, good. Then less people will go there. Good. Go somewhere else. Start your own business. Be self-sufficient. Spread out away from these cities. You know, these cities are big polluters. They're big eyesores and they smell like sour milk. A lot of good things about cities, but it's gotten to be too much. You know, I believe the planet is overpopulated, or at least I said the cities. Michael Malice responded that it's just population density. And then I said, okay, well then people should get out of the cities for a variety of reasons. And maybe that's where we're headed. Maybe that's the goal. So I don't know. You know, I guess we'll see how far this can go in Canada and these other countries. The U.S. is split in half, but it's not just the U.S. It's Western culture. It's Western civilization. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.